spent every penny I had to get custody of a kid I didn't want. My sister grabbed my hand 3 days before she died and made me promise to keep her son away from her ex-husband Garrett. She'd left him after he broke her jaw in front of Oliver and spent 4 years hiding from him. I never wanted kids. I loved my quiet apartment and my freedom and my routine, but I made my sister a promise on her deathbed, and I don't break promises. The day after her funeral, Garrett filed for custody before the flowers on her grave had wilted. I hired a lawyer and drained my savings and showed up to court ready to fight. The judge looked at my paperwork and said, "I'm sorry, but he's the biological father. The restraining order was filed by the deceased, not the child. Custody is awarded to the father." Before they took Oliver away, I knelt down and made him memorize my phone number. I said, "If anything ever happens, you call me, day or night." Garrett grabbed Oliver's arm so hard the boy winced. He leaned close and whispered, "Say goodbye. You won't be seeing him again." I drove to his apartment the next week, and Garrett answered holding a baseball bat. He said, "I told you what would happen if you showed up. You want to find out if I meant it?" I called Child Protective Services and reported my concerns. They did a home visit, and Garrett put on his charming act, and they closed the case. I hired a private investigator who found evidence Oliver wasn't enrolled in any school. I filed an emergency petition for custody. The judge said, "This is concerning but not sufficient." Petition denied. I spent 6 more months gathering evidence. I found neighbors who heard screaming at all hours. I found a teacher from Oliver's old school who said he came in with bruises on his arms. I filed another petition. Denied again. Insufficient evidence. Garrett found out I'd been talking to his neighbors and left a voicemail on my phone. "Keep digging and I'll bury you right next to your sister." Then he moved without telling anyone. I burned through what was left of my retirement fund trying to track him down. I finally found their new address through a mutual friend. When I knocked on the door, Garrett came outside and grabbed my throat and slammed me against the wall. He said, "Get in your car right now before I snap your neck and tell the cops you attacked me first." I drove away because I was terrified if I got arrested I would never see Oliver again. 2 years went by with nothing. I didn't know if he was alive or dead. I kept his photo on my refrigerator and stared at it every morning wondering if I had failed my sister. Then one night my phone rang at 2 in the morning. I picked up and heard crying. A voice I barely recognized whispered, "It's Oliver. I don't know where I am, but please come get me." I made him read me every street sign he could see. I found him 45 minutes later sitting on a curb in his pajamas clutching a garbage bag to his chest. He looked up at me with my sister's eyes and something behind them was shattered. I said, "What happened?" He said, "I ate leftover pizza without asking and he threw me down the stairs. He told me I was worthless just like my mom and I told her not to talk about her that way and I just ran." I took him home and wrapped him in a blanket and told him no one would ever hurt him again. 4 days later, Garrett was pounding on my door so hard the pictures on my walls shook. I told Oliver to go to the bedroom and lock the door. I called 911 and said someone was trying to break into my apartment. Then I opened the door. Garrett shoved past me screaming, "Where is he? Oliver, get out here right now!" I said, "You need to leave." He grabbed my face with one hand and squeezed until I tasted blood. He said, "You think you can just take what's mine? He belongs to me." I said, "He's not property." He laughed and said, "You're right, property has value. That kid's worthless. But I don't get payout from your bitch sister's social security unless that brat lives here. That's my money and you're stealing it." The bedroom door opened. Oliver was standing there. He'd heard everything. Garrett pointed at him and said, "Get over here, now." Oliver didn't move. He said, "No, she spent everything she had trying to save me. You spent 3 years cashing checks and using me as a punching bag." Garrett's face went dark. He walked toward Oliver and said, "Your mother begged me to take you because she knew no one else would want you. Just like no one wanted her." I grabbed Garrett and threw him against the wall. He swung at me, and that's when the cops came through the door. They pinned him down immediately. As they dragged him out, he screamed at Oliver, "This is all your fault, just like your mother's death." Oliver was shaking. He whispered, "You didn't have to do all that for me." I pulled him close and said, "I wanted to. I want you." Garrett lost all parental rights and is serving 3 years for child neglect. Last month, Oliver asked if he could start calling me mom.